everybody. I'm Kayleen McKay of Contractor and co-host joined this week instead of with Scott Sheelar with Zach Fields, who is also from SEPCA. How is it going, Zach?
Kayleen, it's going fantastic. Always love getting together with you, and so appreciative of the energy and the value you bring to this mission. So yeah, it's great to be here today. I will be no replacement for Scott Sheelar by any means, but happy to be here.
Well, it's always a joy to speak with all the awesome team members over at SEPCA. I mean, obviously I've been able to geek out with Scott, but we were just talking about that I met SEPCA and came across the organization because I saw you speak on a board or a panel at an ACTE conference. So it's been quite a few years now.
That's right. That was with our great partners at NCCR. They were great at bringing together passionate people, and I think that's how we connected because of our mutual love for the skilled trades, the industry, and the opportunities that it means for young people.
Yeah, no joke. And well, it's really nice too, because with lunch, it's like all of our friends get to hang out now, under the SEPCA umbrella. So it's absolutely fantastic. Well, Zach, before we normally get into the the meat and potatoes of the show, Scott and I take a quick moment to geek out about something. And last week, Scott it was amazing. He has some cool stuff to geek out about. So I thought I really had to up my game this week, right? But actually, this is just something naturally I'm geeking out in my shop. I love to build furniture, and I have a lot of nails, like nailers. Okay, I have a pin nailer, right? I have my 23 gauge normal pin nailer. This is Cadex. Zach, if you haven't played with a Cadex nailer yet, they're so nice. They fire really nice, and they have an air spurt on them, so you can clear your area.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's great. A normal gun, right? Whatever. Oh, that's fine. I also have a 23 gauge little shoot, a 2 3/4 inch. That's like a 2-inch staple I'd fire into. I don't even know what I'm going to build with it. So I have to geek out. I know, right? Well, it's always nice to come across tools and things and let your brain expand and all right, what furniture am I going to build now? And how can I actually put these to work? So sometimes it's nice investing in tools and then getting to play with them later,
I just bought some tools, Kayleen.
What'd you get?
I wasn't going to let you be the only one that showed off some tools today. All right. So the most time-honored craft, I love all the trades, but the ones that came before us, the men and women with the skill and earned it the hard way and usually did it by hand, have inspired me to learn the craft of timber framing. And so I was fortunate enough to actually be on a timber framing crew in November and a couple of weeks back, and we finished a barn in North Carolina. But as you know, with any new job you do that requires a new tool, you got to get geared up. And so I just want to show you a comparison between two tools that I have, the size difference here. And so this is a normal chisel. You're going to carve some wood, and maybe you can install some door hinges and some mortise and tenon, which is the fine craftsman part one. But the largest version of this that you will ever see is something called a slick. And so this is a slick, and I just have to, I can't even let me fit it sideways in the screen here and you'll see it. But this is handcrafted in Idaho, and it's as sharp as you can get. You don't hit this one with a hammer or mallet, you push this one, but it carves off large pieces of tenons to make those big beams fit together. Really great. Just an exciting new part of my world nowadays.
Zach, you win. I'm so jealous. I have never, even in all the woodworking shows that I've gone to, I've never even seen a chisel that big. So now, whoa, okay. Well, now I guess we're going to have to cancel the show. Brad was going to be an awesome interview, but no kidding. Actually, talking about all these tools and making an investment. And it's interesting because you and I both buy tools and invest into our future. And we're talking to Bryant today about students investing into their future in this amazing program that I'm so excited to learn about, because in Colorado, I don't think we have anything comparable to this. Georgia, again, is leading the way.
That's right. We have a lot of good people and great organizations that are all working together to help our students to get to the next step, to figure out what that next right step is. And I'm very thankful for people like Brad, who've just been so effective in the space and are leading in that. And so I'm excited to hear what he has to say today as well.
Yes, excellent. Now you're going to be hanging out for the entirety of this show, right? And then come back at the end?
I'll be back in the green room.
Okay, yeah. Make sure you get your hair and makeup done. But it's also good for all of our fans watching. So if you have any questions, you can always type in our chat box, and Zach and our other staff will be around to answer those questions. So Zach, thanks for kicking it off with the super geek out. I'll see you in a bit.
All right.
Bye-bye. Brad, hello. How is it going today?
Great. How are you doing today?
I am absolutely terrific. Thank you very much for joining us for lunch. I am very excited to learn about this program. Like I was telling Zach, I don't think this program has something comparable in Colorado, where I'm at. And
Sure.
Everyone in Georgia, this is amazing. So you're the vice president of Reach Georgia. Can you tell me a little bit about what you do?
Sure. So Reach is our state's needs-based scholarship program. And what's exciting to me, we have so many other scholarship opportunities in Georgia, but we have one that is Reach that is particularly designed to work with 8th grade students. So communities select their 8th grade students through an application process. And rather than dictating what those students' career outcome is going to be, those high schools and those communities work with them to bring them to the end of their high school career, ready to move on to a technical college, a 2-year program, a 4-year program within Georgia, with the idea that if we can keep our talent in Georgia, we're going to have an educated and diverse workforce.
Wow, what an incredible gift to provide for students. You know, to think of the bigger picture. So then also the Georgia Student Finance Commission.
Sure.
Help students, so they help students continue their education with financial aid. What? This is amazing. Explain this to me.
Well, the good news is that all of our states have a similar commission. We like to think and brag on Georgia as being one of the best, primarily because I think what we've done is we've approached education and lifelong learning from a more holistic approach. So what we don't want to find ourselves trapped into in any state is that myth that the only path to success in life is through a bachelor's degree, those BS blinders. And so where a lot of states have a community college program, Georgia has a rich and robust technical college system. And so it's not your old trade schools or your vocational schools, but I mean, these are really amped up schools and learning communities where students can really live into what will fuel their passion for life. And that may be, it may be going through a traditional bachelor's degree program, but if we can also move these students into the skilled trades, the technical trades, and give them the support financially and instructionally to get into these spaces, then I think what we've done is just a service to all the citizens of the state.
It is so refreshing to hear it phrased that way. Yes, I believe it too, because you have to feed all the needs of the people, and college is not 100% fit for 100% of everybody.
Right.
And it's interesting to hear this, the financial programs in the past, I feel like, have typically been geared for that 4-year. And so it's really refreshing to hear that Georgia's thinking about this differently.
Right.
So are there scholarships available then for
Sure.
opportunities outside of the 4-year?
Sure, absolutely. And in fact, there probably as many opportunities for a technical college path as there are for that traditional 4-year path. And you may be familiar with our Hope Scholarship Program. It's throughout its history, we've invested over $12 billion in Georgia students. And what Hope is a merit-based scholarship. So you're looking for those students that'll finish with a high school GPA of a 3.0 or higher. Then they have the opportunity to either enroll in a 4-year bachelor's degree institution or to use those dollars to go into one of our technical colleges. Wow. I think I'm right in that it's every citizen of Georgia probably has a technical college closer to them than they may have a Home Depot. They're within, they're within 30 minutes of their home. So we want to make this just an easy and accessible place for them to finish that high school career or even work while they're in that high school career towards that technical college certificate or that technical college diploma. So, you know, the myths that I think we're trying to break are first, that, you know, that a technical college path is somehow a lower path or a less desirable path. My family, my dad and uncle were in home construction and development for 50 plus years. So I spent most of my childhood around skilled tradespeople and just fabulous folks. But what the world teaches us now is that you need something beyond high school to be able to be a successful navigator of your own business or that skilled trade.
It is, and it is really a kind of a sad focus because, you know, I work with some master craftsmen as well, and we do more calculations in our brain in a day than most accountants do, you know, during the week. It's heavy math and very, we need smart folks.
Well, when I was working, when we were looking at math standards in Georgia, and we were talking about whether math was for everyone, I said, come out onto a job site, see that concrete finisher. If they don't know how to calculate cubic yards, they're going to leave money on the table because they're relying on somebody else to do those calculations for them. So I'm in full agreement with you on that.
Yes. It needs to be taught as a language. That's just my personal opinion.
Right.
But, you know, one step at a time, right? Let's get people employed first.
Right. Well, and that's how, and we do talk about that in Georgia. It's, you know, numeracy is a language. So you're spot on. We need to move you to Georgia. You know,
I know, if I could handle the humidity, I would be there in a heartbeat. You folks, I mean, it's been for years that I've been associated with organizations there, and it continues to blow my mind. This whole scholarship. So any student in Georgia who gets a 3.0 or higher is eligible to receive this funding to continue their education.
That's right. And it covers a portion of their tuition. Now, you might then ask the question, well, what about the students that finish with a 2.0 and graduate from high school? So we spend a fair amount of our lottery money as well on the Hope Grant and the Zell Miller Grant. And the Hope Grant is similar to the Hope Scholarship, but it does not require that 3.0 GPA. It covers a portion of their tuition, and then the Zell Miller Grant would be for those students who would start in a technical college or a 2-year or 4-year college, would demonstrate that they could maintain a 3.5 GPA, I believe. Then they are given an additional amount towards their scholarship as well. And when we're thinking about this, remember, if you're a parent, if you're a student, the words you want etched in your mind are grants and scholarships, because those you do not have to pay back. Those are being given to you. Loans and coming out of your personal wallet would be a little bit lower on that continuum, but where you can capture a grant or a scholarship, then that's going to make all the difference in the world, because if you're starting out in the skilled trade, you don't want to have a tremendous amount of debt, although you're going to be in a good position, maybe more so than some of your peers, to pay that back, because you're going to be highly employable as you step into that. And our state even recognized that, Kayleen, when we have what's called the Hope Career Grants. And so our state leaders have determined that there are industries in which there are more jobs than we have skilled labor for. And so with our Hope Career Grants, you actually earn an additional bump towards paying for that tuition within the state. And within the construction trades, I counted, and there's over 120 certificates or technical college diplomas that you can earn, because our construction trades are one of those high need industries. So if you want to learn concrete finishing, if you want to learn site management, if you want to learn all types of carpentry, then you don't need to see that your only option is going to work from one of our great skilled tradesmen in Georgia. You can do both.
Yes.
And so it's almost like the old apprenticeship programs, you know. So,
awesome.
so those are the type things that just get me very excited, as you can tell, about the options that our young Georgians and those that are choosing to change careers, or even our military. We're a very military family friendly state. And so many of our military members that are exiting active service, they can stay in Georgia and can go back to school and really become a vibrant part of our workforce.
That's incredible. You know, and being an employer in the construction industry, I want to work with those veterans. Yes.
Right.
Yes, absolutely. Right. And so to highlight that, it's amazing. You know, we brought it up a few times on the screen, but can you please tell us the website where people can find out some more information on this if they're unfamiliar?
Yeah, so sure. If you're looking at like a toolbox, what I would say is your georgiafutures.org is the place you want to go to. And then it will just very intuitively lead you through everything we've been talking about. The scholarship programs. There's a chat box on there that you can ask questions. We have throughout the state of Georgia, Georgia Student Finance has a great team of outreach folks. And these folks are willing to sit down with families one-on-one, or to come into high schools or community meetings to talk about how you can navigate financially through the cost of college.
Wow. Now this is, you know, this resource and this website, obviously my passion and kind of tilt is yay trades and the funding behind that. But this website and this resource really goes beyond just that. I mean, it also can help out families navigating any sort of financial stuff. You know, like the FAFSA loans can be difficult. That's challenging. So do you folks also help out with processes like that?
Absolutely. And so our state leadership, our agency leadership are tied in with the national efforts that are going on. And the FAFSA that you mentioned, really every family ought to look very, very seriously at completing that FAFSA, because it is the gate that opens up a lot of these scholarship and grant and the federal grant programs are the first that I would say come out of the chute. If you are a low-income family, then filling out the FAFSA may qualify you for $6,345 a year towards cost of attendance, which is not only the tuition and books, but it's some of the living expenses, the room and board that would go with that. And good news on that front is retired Senator Lamar Alexander from the state of Tennessee, who was a college president at one time, was just, he couldn't believe how long and laborious the FAFSA application was. 108 questions, you know, looked like a phone book in the old days, those who remember phone books. And so what they were able to do in one of the last pieces of legislation in this last session of Congress was they reduced and simplified that greatly. So I believe it's gone from like 108 questions to where it will ultimately be about 38 questions, a lot more management of new numbers, so that a family won't have to go to 15 documents to be able to populate some of the information. So just an exciting time if you're a family that has a student that is starting to think about college and post-secondary opportunities.
That is excellent, because sometimes the inhibitor is time constraints and also gathering that information.
Right. And then another place they're doing that is that in filling that out each year, they do checks, and we all want to be very good stewards of our money. But what's happened is our low-income students, who are primarily minority students, underserved students, are the ones that sometimes end up having to verify and validate every year. And so there's a real effort within this piece of legislation to make sure that we can, once a student demonstrates that he or she wants to get into that post-secondary pipeline, that they can stay there without just the bureaucracy overwhelming them, if you will, you know.
That is absolutely fantastic. Take some of the red tape away, because, you know, cheering this on, it seems to be sometimes tough to get folks excited about their future opportunities, but they're so giant right now. They're absolutely off the charts, you know, and oh, go ahead.
No, I just was going to agree fully with you. So, you know, and you're a great champion for just talking about that, how we all become lifelong learners, and, you know, and add new tools to our toolbox as we grow older, you know. And I like to think of Georgia's scholarship opportunities is that big toolbox, and what we want our citizens to be able to do is, and you know this, is that if you're going to frame a house, you don't take a dovetail saw to do the work. You know, you're going to take a skill saw. But if you're going to do, as we were talking about a little bit earlier, if you're going to put down shoe molding, you don't really need that skill saw. You need a smaller, and so to help all Georgians figure out what is the right match that they need to live into that purposeful life, we really need as full a toolbox as we can.
It's such a wonderful evolvement, you know, because really taking away that 4-year focus, that's it, and really showing, expanding all of the possibilities and really supporting it from the top down is amazing.
Right.
I just have to ask, just out of curiosity, because I hear a lot of groups who have scholarships and they go unfilled because people aren't applying for them. How is it in Georgia? Are all of these being given away, or there still, I mean, everybody needs to apply, right?
Sure. And I think, you know, some of the inhibitors that we just talked about are the FAFSA. If you can't, if a family doesn't fill out the FAFSA, or if they have difficulty in doing that, then that may preclude them from other scholarships. And then, you know, there's some great resources that are both nonprofits within states, and we have several of those. Colorado has a number of those that help students and family match those. And I've got a dear friend who is a tall African-American woman who's left-handed. And, you know, she reminds folks is that if you do the research, you'll probably find a scholarship for tall left-handed women, you know. And so really that's a great point, is that use these state scholarships, the federal grant programs, to help you start down that path, but then don't give up. Keep searching around. Rotary clubs, service clubs, leadership programs, all of those are designed to do one thing, which is to help, again, our young people grow into a purposeful life where they're wonderful, wonderful citizens and contribute back to rich and diverse economies.
That's fantastic. You know, and really now with the shortening of the FAFSA loans, these the website you have is so fantastic and rich with resources. Now, just to dispel a myth, because sometimes I'm curious, you know, sometimes these scholarships are just for a 4-year opportunity. Are these scholarship and grants also available for trade programs or 2-year degrees?
Sure, and again, and we haven't talked about dual enrollment, which is another way to help do that. So Georgia and a lot of other states, but again, I'm prejudiced toward Georgia, is that what we want to do is we've worked with our post-secondary partners, the K-12 with the post-secondary partners, so that if you're a family in Georgia, rather than use that junior and senior year in ways where the student is just kind of biding his or her time to either enter the workforce or to enter into a college experience, what we've done is students in Georgia actually have the ability to take credit-bearing courses, and most of our students are finding that best path through our technical colleges. So they're able to take those credit-bearing courses and take up to 30 hours at no cost to the student or the family for tuition. And with these students living at home, the parents might charge them room and board, but at the same time, the parents are probably trying to prepare them so that the students don't live with them forever, you know.
Yeah, it's nice, you know, keep that
so it's an investment by the parents, you know. So we're seeing we spent about I think about 80 or 90 million last year in the dual enrollment, and our budget for this year is right at 90 million. And so what this is doing is allowing students to start more quickly. And so, for those young people who can't wait to get out into a trade or into the work world, what I would say would be is that if you use that last year or two of high school, go ahead, put 30 hours under your belt, and then spend another year. You could still live at home, spend another year, access one of our technical college programs in the construction trades, maybe work part-time with a great contractor. And then when you hit 18 or 19 years old, you're going to have both the academic background, and you're going to be at a place where you can really start to practice what you've been learning in not only the construction trade, but any of the other trades that are offered within our technical college programs.
It's phenomenal. I just think this is the way we should really kind of find our career path in love, is try it out, go through apprentice programs. The fact that this is being supported and embraced is amazing. Again, before I bring Zach back in, it's gafutures.org. Correct. And that's the best sort of warehouse to find all of this amazing information.
Right. And when, yes, absolutely. And when you get there, if you want to find out more about some of the really great folks that work within Georgia Student Finance, just go to that About Us link. And what it'll do is it'll drop you down, and there's a map that shows under the outreach, a map that'll show you how Georgia is divided up. And there's a representative that under contact your GSFC representative that will link you to which part of the state you're in. And then these folks are just phenomenal resources. You can see them on the right side of the screen. And they're there just to do what we are called to do in state government, which is to be good servants of your tax dollars and help you out. And I think they've done, since COVID, if you think that's been a barrier, I think they've done about 900 one-on-one visits with families just to help them all see the potential that their child or their student may have as a citizen.
Wow, what an amazing resource and gift almost to all residents of Georgia to have this opportunity and continue their education with such support at any time. Oh, my goodness. I feel like this should have been an hour lunch today. I mean, is there any other bits of information you'd like to share with our followers that we didn't quite get to today?
Well, probably the only thing I would do would be just to thank you for just being such a strong champion for this work, because we need, if we're going to create movements, you need those champions. And then I would just also just give a shout out to SEFCA and a lot of the other great partners that we have in this state. This while Georgia Student Finance administers this, we're a part of a larger team. Our governor's been great, and his predecessors, our state General Assembly and our legislature have been great. But I just can't speak enough to how important private industry and nonprofit partners are to ensuring that government is successful. Government can do its part, but when we really work well is when our corporate and nonprofit partners join side by side with us. And we all do that with a student-centered focus. So that'd be kind of how I would close mine, unless there are questions.
No, it's amazing. I thought Zach was going to be joining us a bit ago, but Brad, this was absolutely a gift and a half, and I appreciate you sharing all this information. I am a supporter of SEFCA too, and whatever happening in Georgia, I think is such a strong example for the rest of the nation. And again, I can't wait after this to go geek out on that website for a while to, inform myself a bit better, because the support is tremendous. And I hope that all the parents tune in and watch this today. So thank you very, very much for all of your information.
And I think the proof of the pudding may be is that Georgia has I think we're into our 6th, 7th, or 8th year maybe of the best place to work in America. And I think that that's a function of all of this coming together. so that we really are creating a strong menu of options for our families, for our citizens, and for our students. So thank you for what you're doing.
Oh, well, thank you. Absolutely. You know, and it's actually so rewarding too, because I see Georgia bringing the level of respect of all these industries and great careers up. And so as a whole, good team. Hooray. High five. Yeah. So thank you again. And for all of our fans, next week, we're going to be talking to some friends who are putting on a great event called Next Steps. It's the ultimate guide to career options and choices for parents and students. So we'll be talking to them about what their event is all about. And again, I cannot thank you enough, Brad, for joining us this week. I hope you have a terrific rest of your day.
Well, thanks for having me.
All right. Thanks. We'll talk to you later.
Thank you, Brad.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.